Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TinyBlueGames. My name, of course, is Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about my top 10 most played MMOs in 2019. I thought it was a good time to sort of take a step back and look at what games I spent the most amount of time in throughout the last year. I think it's always very interesting when you take a step back and you do think of that and see where your time's going, what you did enjoy, what you didn't enjoy, because sometimes you realize you're actually playing a game that you might not think was your favorite, but you are sinking most of your time into it. And vice versa. So it's very interesting to take a step back and take a look every so often. The other thing I'm going to really focus on in this video is I'm going to try and keep it quick and snappy, because whenever I'm talking about multiple games at the same time, it can go on for quite a while. So what we're going to try to do is do the top 10 MMOs in 10 minutes. Specifically, I hope to do about a minute of conversation per each of the specific titles. So yeah, let's get into it. We're going to be doing these in order of least played to most played. So we'll start with the games that I've played the least throughout the year, and we'll end up with the game that's been taking most of my time. Alright, so the first game we have is Astellia Online. This is a game I played really not very much of. I played one free-to-play weekend that they did offer because I did wanted to check it out just to make a first impressions video and see what the game did have to offer. It was a very traditional MMORPG with the main unique feature being Estellas, which are a type of pet that you can summon and collect throughout the game, so you can kind of get a variety of them and use them in different situations. I wouldn't say the game offered much, unique aspects apart from that, and I definitely didn't feel compelled to jump back in after that initial playthrough, but it was interesting to check out, and I'm glad I made the first impressions video, but I don't know how much more I'll play of it in 2020. Alright, the second game on my list is Elder Scrolls Online. Now, this is the last of the big MMOs that I haven't given a proper try. I did end up playing it back in beta, like many, many years ago, and I really didn't enjoy it too much back then, but I have continuously heard that the game's been improving over the years, and I do know that I should give it a proper try eventually. It's kind of like Final Fantasy XIV, where I know there's a huge amount of lore that has already been established for the game, and because of that, I'm kind of scared to jump into it, but I really do think I'll give a good try in 2020. I have even gone so far as to buy the game during the most recent winter sale they've had, so I'm really looking to jump into it and try it out more in 2020, but it's certainly one of the best MMOs on the market right now. Alright, and then we have ArcheAge Unchained. This was one of the bigger releases in 2019. It sort of follows the trend of MMOs that are releasing different servers that focus on specific points that people enjoy about the game. In this case, trying to stay away from mistakes that were made with the original ArcheAge. I played it a very small amount. I played it just on the test servers before it went and did a full release. But what was particularly memorable is that I was actually invited to give this a go. My YouTube channel was invited, that is. So it's going to hold a particularly good spot in my mind because of that. I thought the game itself was quite interesting with specific class combinations you could do while leveling, and I thought there was a lot of freedom that way, which was really cool as well. Next up, we have Black Desert Online. This is kind of interesting because I don't think a lot of people know that I play Black Desert Online occasionally. I do it really just to go and explore the world every so often. I think it's one of those games that if you do not take it seriously as a game, you're going to enjoy it a whole bunch more than someone who's playing it as their main game. I remember I picked it up I want to say like even a year ago now, on quite a good sale, and I was like, cool, I'll just go and explore. And it's got such an immersive world, and the combat does really feel quite different from anything else you play. And so I just really enjoy jumping into the world every so often. But yeah, it's like few and far between. Like I'll go on maybe once every month for like an hour or something like that. It's a really weird spot, but it scratches a certain grinding itch that I have every so often. So I do enjoy the game, and I think I should take another look at it in the future at some point. All right, old school RuneScape. This is a game that I've talked about a few times on the channel. Specifically, it's the MMO that I play on PC from time to time, but I play it by far the most on my mobile device, which I know mobile MMOs don't have a great rep, but it's pretty much the same game on mobile device versus PC, and it's the same account, in fact. So it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm just sitting, on a couch or waiting somewhere, and I'm like, hey, I could hop on old school RuneScape. So because of that, I've actually racked up a fair bit of time played on it, and I've had a lot of fun just exploring the world, working on a variety of different skills. Like it's a very chill time, and it's a great way to spend a couple of moments if you're just waiting for something. So I've really enjoyed it quite a bit in 2019, and maybe I'll play it some more in 2020 as well. All right, MapleStory. I'm getting out of the breath because of this. MapleStory is a game that I always drop into when I'm feeling nostalgic. I don't think there's ever been a year since I've started playing the game that I haven't logged in and just like listened to the music and leveled up a character a little bit and then dropped out again. I've certainly played other versions of the game as well, wink wink, but it's a really fun game that does take up a couple hours every so often, and it's just something I love to play, specifically with my brother. I'll go in and jump in and level a bit or something like that, so it's a lot of fun. I don't think I'd ever play it seriously, but if MapleStory Classic does come out one day, you'll definitely see a playthrough of that. And I've even made another video surrounding a MapleStory Classic server and what it would look like if you do want to share your thoughts on that as well. All right, with the Classic servers in mind, let's talk about World of Warcraft Classic. I think it's safe to say that this is probably the biggest MMO release of 2019. A lot of people were waiting for this for many years, and it was definitely a successful launch. Like, it's been a huge win for Blizzard, and a huge win for legacy servers in general, seeing that there is still enough people who are nostalgic and not only wanting to try it out, but stick with the game for a while. Certainly it's not quite as busy as when it first launched, but no game is, but it's still going quite steady. I myself have played it a bit, but not nearly as much as I probably should have, and I hope to play a fair bit more of the game in 2020 and really dive into what makes the game so different and so fun to explore and progress through. So I'm really excited to give it a go and really take it more seriously. All right, we're into the last ones that I've played the most, and I'm running out of breath, but we're doing great. Guild Wars 2. Unfortunately, I'd have to say Guild Wars 2 probably had one of the most disappointing years out of any of these games. I think for the most part, it's because of how good they did in 2018, how well they did in 2017. I felt like the game really had a fair bit of momentum with the expansion model that they were going with, but it seems like recently that they've doubled down on the living world content, and sort of shied away from raids and from fractals, and really any of the content that I've enjoyed. They still put out great story content, and I do love playing it, but it's hard to sink my teeth into any other aspect of the game, which really just has me playing every couple of months for a few hours. But it's still a really enjoyable game, and I'm not paying much to play it, so it's kind of a win that way. All right, now we have WoW Retail. This is the number 2 spot. It still takes up a fair bit of my time because a lot of my friends still play it, and I do enjoy raiding with them and, doing a couple dungeons and stuff like that. In terms of the game itself, it really did not have a great 2019 either. BFA removed so many systems that were great in the game and really added nothing beneficial. We're all kind of hoping at this point that the trend within WoW of having one bad expansion and one great expansion continues, and that we see some great improvements in Shadowlands. But it's a very unfortunate place to be, just kind of waiting for the next expansion, because it has, there's a fair bit of time to kill. So we'll see what 2020 brings for World of Warcraft. But I do think I'll probably end up playing WoW less, but we'll see what happens. All right, and for anyone who's watched this channel fairly regularly, this should be no surprise. Final Fantasy XIV is by far the MMO I played the most in 2019. I went from barely knowing anything about the game to, well, still barely knowing anything about the game, but I have played and sunk a lot of hours into the game. There's just so much content if you're willing to look for it. I've really been enjoying taking my time and exploring the game and enjoying the journey, and I hope to continue this journey in 2020 and really dive into some of the other expansions and endgame that the game has to offer, but also to realize how enjoyable this slow learning process of the game was, and use that to explore other MMOs in the future. I think it's been a very good experience, and I've loved sharing it with each and every one of you. And I've had a great 2019 when it comes to gaming, guys. I can't thank you guys enough for helping me navigate through these different MMOs, and I look forward to seeing you in 2020. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you and bring you into the new year.